So as we know, time management is important no matter what we're doing, whether it be at work, done at home, in the office, or even doing homework. This is especially true in lean construction. Lean construction principles tend to focus on making sure that time is used wisely. Some tasks take 5 minutes and some take the entire day to complete. Either way is perfectly acceptable according to Lean, so long that every second and every time spent performing that task is adding value to the actual process or the ultimate product. Lean provides a few resources and tools to make sure that all time put into a process and ultimately the desired product is time well spent. One of these tools is the spaghetti diagram. A spaghetti diagram is a visual representation representing or showing how long the employee spends on each task as well as where the employee is when performing those tasks. In short, it is a picture showing how an employee chooses to spend their time throughout the day. But creating a visual diagram is only half of the solution when using a spaghetti diagram. After drawing out where the employee spends their time performing a task and creating a table showing the time spent for each task, including walking time or other transitional time, the person then analyzes the diagram and determines possible solutions that could help the employee perform the tasks even more efficiently and in less time. In our example, we analyzed watched these workers framing the walls of a house for a home out in Vineyard. First, we saw the workers having to go and gather all of the wood, 2x4s, 2x6s, plywood, and bring them back to the desired workspace. Next, we saw that they have to go and gather all of their tools such as hammers, nails, gloves, air compressors, hoses, squares, sawhorses, and chalk lines, and get their tools all set up and their workstations ready to go. Then the actual process of framing the wall began. In the spaghetti diagram, we have to make sure to include all walking time and break time and attach the time spent in each of those to what they're doing. First, we saw them cut wood used for the top and bottom plate. This took roughly 5 minutes. Then we saw them space out the wood that they cut to the correct height for the wall on the floor and lay it down evenly. This spent about another 45 seconds. Then they cut the desired lengths for the studs. Most of the studs were already at the 8-foot desired height, so they didn't have to cut too much except for to maybe square off some of the ends. Roughly, this took about 2 minutes to get them cut and placed. Then they nailed in the studs to the top and bottom plate. This took roughly 2.5 to 3 minutes. Then they cut the specified sizes and lengths of plywood to cover the exterior side of the wall. They didn't have to cut too much of the plywood because most of the lengths they used fit the wall itself. They just had to cut mainly the edges and sides. This took about 7-8 minutes. Then they nailed in the plywood to the exterior side of the wall, which took about another 5 minutes. Then they chalked out a line on the floor for the desired location of the wall. This took about 30 seconds with the help of some employees. Then the employees gathered a few more to help stand the wall and move it and stand it in the right location. This took about 5 minutes. Then they checked for the plumbness, which took about another minute and a half. Then they nailed the bottom plate into the floor in the desired location, which took about a minute and 15 seconds. From this example, we saw that there were a couple solutions that they could have done. One was to move everything a little bit closer, meaning the toolboxes, their tools, the wood, and anything else that they needed for the actual process of framing the wall and move it to the desired location. Then we thought that it might be helpful to have them kind of put everything in almost like a half circle so that they could sequentially go from cutting to placing to nailing and go on throughout this. We also saw that they spent quite a bit of time just kind of talking to one another and not so much time as actually performing the task of framing the wall. We thought that this was also something that could be cut out. In all, we figured with some of these solutions, they could have saved about 10 minutes of extra time that they would cut out by not talking as much, not kind of fooling around or taking those kind of breaks to talk with buddies and getting everything set up right.